We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use the box at sign up for 10 points. And here we go.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the Sports Box. Here on this Monday evening, just about a little over an hour away before kickoff of the Eagles and Seahawks this evening. So we'll take you almost right to kickoff, a little bit short of that. So I'm Paul Macrie alongside Mike Velardi, Big V. What's going on this evening, Big V?
I should be excited. The Eagles are on Monday Night Football tonight.
Normally we would be, right?
I'm wearing my green, but I'm not.
Because they're 3-6-1.
Well,
and
nothing to be excited about right now, you know?
Well, I think a lot of people are pressing the envelope right now for what with the reports that we heard early yesterday morning, I guess when you woke up, essentially. Tim McManus of ESPN, the Eagles reporter for ESPN, reporting that Jalen Hurts in practice this week received more first-team snaps with Wentz off the field.
Apparently.
And Doug Peterson has shot that down, that it wasn't nothing normal. It was nothing abnormal. It's been the same reps throughout the year. Or some others that are kind of backing off that today as far as the initial report there of Jalen Hurts getting more reps in practice with the first team. Listen, I think tonight it would not surprise me if we do see Hurts in the game with Wentz not. But I still would expect Wentz to take the most of the snaps unless he just completely looks as awful as he has been over the last couple of weeks in the first, let's say, series or two, and then enough's enough. Maybe the leash is that short tonight that he only gets a series or two to prove himself. And if they're not moving the ball, and so let's say Seattle's already up, 10-0, 14-0 in the first quarter, which you could see that happening, right? That maybe they finally pull Wentz. So I think that's what it's going to have to come down to. Wentz will start this game, I would think, but will he finish it is the question.
Yeah, do they get the ball first? Does the drive stall? Well, what happens? We'll see.
Yeah.
Is he out? On the first drive, does Hurts come out in the first series with him? Who knows? What do you expect? There was also a report. I don't know what kind of a report it was, but Jeff Mosher was quoted in a report as saying, Jeffrey Lurie came out and said that, he wants to see Hurts out there. So, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, so. I think we're going to see, obviously there's been a very lack of creativity as far as the offense and play calling in general. It has got so stale. And then after the bye week, when they had the opportunity to maybe tweak some things, fix some things, they did not. They come out with the 2 games after the bye, put up 17 points in each game, and look pretty lethargic doing it. And now they're 3-6-1. And every time Hurts is in the game, which has been few and far between lately, but when he is, it's pretty predictable. It's either him keeping the ball or giving or electing to hand it off to Sanders, whoever's in the backfield, and it's become too predictable.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to change something there if they decide to use Hurts in any type of situation here tonight.
Right.
And Garth Michael Patrick, one of our first to chime in this evening. Time for rebuild in Philly. It's obviously should be considered if this season continues to go south, which I think we expect it to be. I think there's going to be changes in the offseason, whether or not that is head coach, GM, quarterback, all the above. I don't know, but certainly you can't stand pat into next year if this season ends up, let's say, 4-11-1 or 3-12-1, which is not out of the realm of possibility right now.
We do have some NFL. We have breaking news here on the Sports Box. Just coming in the past, 20 minutes or so, Ravens and Steelers Week 12 game now postponed. to Wednesday afternoon, people. We're going to have a Wednesday afternoon game at 3:40 p.m. Check that out.
Only in 2020. We had a Tuesday game, early in the season, Buffalo and Tennessee. A couple of doubleheader Monday games. I think 2 doubleheader Monday games, and now we went from what was originally scheduled for Thanksgiving night with the Ravens Steelers, then moved to Sunday at I guess it was supposed to be Sunday at 1, then Monday night. Or no, then I think they went from Sunday to Tuesday, and now Tuesday to Wednesday.
Well, now they're saying that Schefter's not reporting it yet, but he's talking about they're actually thinking about moving the Sunday game to Tuesday now. That next game, I guess.
Yeah, Dallas and Baltimore looks like that's going to be played now, which was originally scheduled for this Thursday coming up.
Right.
Will now be Tuesday
at 5, right?
At 8:05.
Okay. And so the Sunday games are talking about 5 o'clock now or something like that. I was reading.
There's 2 now Monday games, so this will be the 3rd Monday night doubleheader coming up next Monday. So
I love it too.
Washington at Pittsburgh.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. This is great NFL games.
I mean, the NFL's got to do it to define.
What is Maction? Maction in the NFL?
Yeah, some action. They're trying every which way to try to get all these games in.
There you go. They got it on right now.
Yeah, I'm looking as well. Yeah, on ESPN.
Monday, December 7th, Washington at Pitt, 5 Eastern. Buffalo versus San Fran, 8
which that's the scheduled Monday night game next week.
That's a doubleheader.
And then
Tuesday night, Dallas at Baltimore. Wow, this is crazy. Good luck, fantasy football players.
Yeah, so everybody understand it. the schedule changes right now, but I mean the NFL is just trying to get through it because really there's no wiggle room right now. There's no, you're too late into the season. Everybody's pretty much had their bye week at this point, so you can't move around bye weeks like you did early in the season, like they did with Pittsburgh and a couple of the other teams. They can't do that now, so they're trying every which way to get these games in and moving around. And obviously now, we're back into, a spike with coronavirus. Baltimore's had 18 positive cases now. So, I mean, that's absurd amount of cases. I think it's got to be the highest for any team so far. Tennessee had a big spike early in the season, but I don't know. It's, NFL's trying their hardest, not to, I guess, have that extra week at the end of the season, which was discussed, like a contingency week 18 or whatever. That is currently not in the offing, but who knows?
Not for nothing. I just happened to be scrolling down to see some ESPN stuff. Number 14, North Carolina is playing at UNLV. I guess they're in the Maui.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. 13-0 UNLV.
UNLV, unranked UNLV. What is that?
So North Carolina ended last year. Obviously, they didn't even make the tournament, and they were one of the worst. Or they were below 500 last year, if I recall. And they opened the season at number 14 because obviously they always, have top echelon recruiting talent, but off to not a good start here tonight. That doesn't mean they're not going to win, but that's where it's at right now. Villanova lost this past weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Virginia Tech,
third ranked,
early in the season. What are you going to
do? And our co-founder Brian T decided to put the flute girl up. Yeah, that nice picture he likes to put up when they lose.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so we'll start with, obviously, we'll get a little more in the Eagles and Seattle game in the last 20, 25 minutes of the show. But week 12 in general, you had the –
There it is.
Yep, there's Gio.
Somebody contain the kid, please.
So you had only 2 Thanksgiving games instead of 3 because Baltimore and Pittsburgh got canceled, or postponed, I should say. Texans with the blowout win against the Lions. Deshaun Watson had a tremendous game. Will Fuller before his now suspension. That's another news that just came out. He's suspended 6 games because of PED. So that's it for his season and 1 game, I think, for 2021.
Yeah, I saw that. And he's a free agent too.
Yes. So that's going to be interesting. I don't think his market value will get diminished too much off of that, but we will see. But a big game for the Texans. Lions fired Patricia and the GM Quinn on Saturday, I believe that went down. So that's it for the Lions head coach / front office.
Yeah, Orlovsky's been all over them the last 3 weeks. He's been
former Lions.
The Lions are awful, and
yeah,
it's been pretty crazy.
So Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator, is the interim for the rest of the year, and
should have never fired Jim Caldwell. He did nothing wrong there.
No, and they tried to go for, if we recall, I guess Patricia was the
hot name, another defensive guy who can't make it.
The hot name, defensive coordinator from the Patriots, a Belichick disciple, and 3 seasons, or not even 3 seasons, 2 3/4 of a season in Detroit.
Yep,
and that is it for him. And they will be looking for another head coach.
Not that Stafford's the problem, but they just need to move on.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it's time to get another young quarterback in there. I mean, Stafford can maybe he can latch on somewhere else as a veteran, gap stop, like Rivers has been this year for Indianapolis. But I would think, it's time for he's been in Detroit now for 12 seasons, I think. So, 11, 12 seasons. So that's he's did what he's had a good career to this point. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer by any means, but he's had a nice solid career and going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks in Lions history and actually took them to the playoffs on several occasions. But nonetheless, that is it for that franchise that is not obviously one of the subpar franchises in NFL history. And I see Brian Attard proposing a trade here of Wentz for Stafford, and I will say probably not on that. I understand from, I guess, a fresh start perspective on the 2 quarterbacks, but no, I'd rather at this point go young altogether, whether it's Hurts or another young quarterback, than bringing in a 31, 32-year-old quarterback in Matt Stafford.
Doug's on ESPN right now?
Yeah, in the pouring rain.
Why is that?
I guess they've been interviewing the head coach an hour before the game. I don't know. I think they just interviewed Pete Carroll too, about weird. 15 minutes ago. Yeah, I guess it's a new thing. Nothing else to do.
Yeah. Maybe coach your team.
Well, I'm saying ESPN, I guess, they probably are obligated to do it. You think the head coach wants to be there right now, an hour before the game talking?
Oh.
And he's saying nothing right now.
Right.
How about Dallas, though, getting blown out by the football team of Washington, who was briefly in first place until the Giants won yesterday?
Yeah.
And Antonio Gibson had a big game.
He did have a big game.
And Mike McCarthy, I really don't know what he's doing.
What, the fake punt?
And going forward on that 4th down and that play call on 4th down, maybe not necessarily the decision to go for it, but the play call to, basically throw a 50-50, back shoulder throw to, what was it, CeeDee, I guess, on the back shoulder throw when it was incomplete. And, I guess Dallas will be in the same boat. I think I think if the draft was right now, they would be number 4. They would have the number 4 pick.
Yeah.
So, as Brian Attard said, tank season.
Yeah, it's tank season
is underway in Dallasville, and
for everybody.
Where are you? I mean, I guess right now, I would think Mike McCarthy stays for at least another year, unless something drastically more goes wrong. I guess at this point they have to ignore the wins and losses because at this point it's a lost season anyway.
Well, Jerry doesn't look like they're tanking. He looks like he's wearing it on his sleeve a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess you can't. He hates to. I guess I feel like he hates to admit a mistake after 1 year, especially after you got rid of the coach everybody wanted to get rid of for 6 years in Jason Garrett, and it doesn't look like you have much of an upgrade right now in Mike McCarthy. So
You got all the weapons on offense too, so it's not like you're.
Yeah, I mean Dak got hurt, but
well,
and that's
is Andy
clear.
Dalton the problem?
Andy Dalton's not as good.
Well, he's not the problem though, is he? I mean, I haven't watched any Dallas games.
He's not playing that good. I mean, he got hurt the one week, and I think the week that he did not play,
he almost died.
What was it? Garrett Gilbert started that game against Pittsburgh. Gilbert actually looked better than Dalton, I thought. But I mean, that makes no difference to me. At this point, I could care less with the Cowboys. We all hope that they never succeed, obviously, in this league. But right now, obviously, it serves them a better purpose to get a top 5 pick. I mean, we all know that. So it is what it is. Couple just pointing out. I want to point out a couple of surprises yesterday. I guess Raiders getting blown out by Atlanta, 43-6.
Very surprising, obviously. I mean, but maybe the Raiders aren't who we thought they were.
Yeah, I mean that's a game they got to win if they want to be a playoff team. That's a game they got to win. And coming off a week where once again another hard-fought game against Kansas City. They had a shot to win. Mahomes, drives down the field to win the game. What are you going to do? The best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
You give him that much time, he's going to do what he does. And, then you go to Atlanta, and Atlanta obviously is not a playoff team, and you lose 43-6. Carr looks awful yesterday, and the offense sputters. So they're 6-5 now, and that's a big loss for them. And, they're looking to grab one of those 3 wild card spots. And, right now, I think they might be on the outside looking in at 6-5 at the moment. So that was a tough one yesterday for them. Meanwhile, as I said, the Giants survived 19-17 against the Bengals. They did what they had to do. They win the game. The story is Daniel Jones leaving with a hamstring injury. The MRI doesn't look as bad as first thought, but
if Burrow's there, they win that game. So.
Probably if they only win by 2, if the Giants only were able to manage by 2. And, but I would anticipate Jones doesn't play this week. I guess he's got a shot to play the following week, but it looks like you're going to deal with Colt McCoy at quarterback this week for the Giants.
We have some people on right now, so I want
to get a couple comments here.
That too, but I want to get to our Stump the Fans. Trivia.
Yeah, let's go.
Because I have a decent question here. So we saw Tyreek Hill go off in the first quarter, I guess you want to say, of the Chiefs game.
Over 200 yards in the first quarter.
So my question is going to relate to that receiving output.
Okay.
So in NFL history, we've had some 6 receivers go over 300 yards, okay, in a game.
Okay.
Can you name for me, or our fans, we'll let our fans go first. Can you name for me how many active players are on the list?
I can name one.
Who have gone over 300 yards.
I can name one, but you said you want the fans to chime in first.
Yeah, let them go first to see. And where is that individual on the list? Or individuals on the list? Okay.
I got one immediately. I'm going to have to think of the other if there is another.
Okay, so 6 people have gone over 300 yards in a game.
I think Tenta got
receiving. Who?
Tenta. That was my guess, and John Stuggs. They both say.
Okay. So he is one of the active people.
I think he did it the Super Bowl year. They lost in the 2016. I think he did it. I remember. What's he on the list?
Yes, he is the 6th place person. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What do you have? 325?
300 on the nose.
Oh, really? I thought it was a little more than 300.
Okay. First is Flipper Anderson with 336. Does anybody know, without looking, who number 2 is? Oh, freaking Suggs. He's probably looked it up. Calvin Johnson is number 2.
Yeah, he must. He can't be this good.
329. Calvin Johnson was the second, which is pretty amazing because I really do think.
What year was that? What year was the Calvin Johnson 329? Do you have it?
It was 2013 against the Cowboys.
Oh, I remember that game. Yeah.
Because that Julio Jones was October 2nd.
2016, right?
Yeah.
I do remember that was their Super Bowl year. Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Flipper Anderson apparently ripped the Saints up in 89.
89, okay. Anybody else?
1985, 1945, and 1950. Okay. But Jimmy Smith in 2000 is number 7.
Okay, so Julio's the only active one.
Yep. Antonio Brown is number 10 after that. You have Jerry Rice, John Taylor 8 and 9, but you have T.O. at 11, Andre Johnson at 12, and then Tyreek Hill just came in at number 14 with 269, which he could have probably destroyed that if he wanted to.
So he had 203, I think, after the first quarter. So we only had 66 yards the remainder of the game.
I mean, they were up. They weren't up big, but they really stopped throwing him the ball.
It's amazing because yesterday that finals 27-24. Didn't it feel like they blew him out and it ended up only being a 3-point game?
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting that game actually ended up being close.
Yeah.
When you kind of almost felt like that duration of the game that Kansas City was up like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But they started making a couple of mistakes. Refs started calling. It seemed like a flag every other play in that game in the fourth quarter last night.
Well, it almost seemed like they wanted the game to be as close as they could be.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about the spread, I mean, the Buccaneers backdoored. It was 3.5.
And what was the final?
27-24. It was 3 points.
Jesus.
So everybody that thinks they're great the entire game. That's how you lose.
What were they up? 17-0 at one point? What was it?
Yeah, I think it was 17-0 or
there you
20.
Go, Monkey B.
Yep. It might have been from that perspective because you figure that Kansas City had that game. You figured they were destined to win by at least 3 touchdowns yesterday, and for whatever reason that ended up being a 3-point game.
Yep.
But I mean, right now. The bottom line, they're staying on the theme of Kansas City. I mean, they're the best teams, coming off the Super Bowl year. They're the favorite to win it again.
I think listen, I don't care if Pittsburgh's undefeated. I think
me neither.
So much better than them. It doesn't really matter.
I honestly think right now, to be honest with you, I think Tennessee is better than Pittsburgh.
I do too.
Nobody's
topping Derrick Henry. I don't know
if Derrick Henry's playing like this again and they go with that type of, obviously – game flow's got to really be strong in the favor of the Titans to do that. You got to build a strong lead early like they did yesterday. It went back and forth for a while, but then the second quarter, the things started to obviously flip around, and then they scored 45 points yesterday against the Colts in a statement game to take control of the AFC South. But I think right now the Titans are more built right now for the playoffs than the Steelers. I'm not saying the Steelers aren't good; they're a good team, but I'm going to take the Titans. And let's face it, Pittsburgh doesn't look like they're going to have fans in the playoffs. I don't think Heinz Field or anything in Pennsylvania is going to be open to fans anytime soon again. Does it really matter that Pittsburgh has home field? No. If they don't have any fans, Tennessee be glad to go. Kansas City be glad to go into Pittsburgh and play. Who cares?
He already showed you they can go into Baltimore. They did it twice. They did it last year, and they did it with fans. They did it this year without fans, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, great point. So the Titans are playing very well, 8-3. Last year doesn't seem to be a fluke where they went on that run to make the playoffs and went to the AFC Championship game.
Well, the Bears got throttled last night too, so that didn't matter.
No, the Bears are lost 5 in a row now, and
they're done.
Trubisky looks just as bad as Foles. That might be it for Matt Nagy. I mean, he's coaching himself out of Chicago. It looks like as Packers are cruising to a division title at 8-3 now in the North. Just going through some other games. Dolphins 20-3. I mean, they played the Jets, but Fitzpatrick does just enough yesterday to win that game. And they're 7-4. Tagovailoa has a thumb injury right now. I think they're just being precautious. Is he going to miss another game? We'll see. I think their schedule's a little light right now, which might help them as far as maybe. Obviously, they're aiming to make the playoffs and be one of those wild card teams if they don't chase Buffalo. Because they got Cincinnati this week, so maybe they can afford another week not playing him and go with Fitz another week. So we'll see there.
Did you hear the exciting news that where College Game Day is going to be?
I saw Coastal Carolina's Chanticleers, huh?
Carolina Chanticleers are getting College Game Day.
Liberty.
Hey, listen,
right?
They're both ranked, right?
They were. Then they lost to NC State by 1. That's their only loss of the season.
Coastal was 15. They probably went down.
Yeah, Coastal's ranked. I'm saying Liberty was also ranked. They were ranked 21, I think, until that loss to NC State. And then they just blew out UMass this week. So they only got 1 loss, right, Liberty, I believe?
Coastal's got to be what, 11 or 12?
Who?
Coastal's got to be 11 or 12, right?
Let me check. I thought it was.
They were 15 last week.
Well,
they had to have gone down.
The new rankings come out tomorrow night.
Oh, all right.
The college football playoff rankings. So if you're looking at that, they're 20 right now going into this week, but they might, Coastal Carolina's 20.
I thought they were 15.
They might have been until the college football playoff rankings. Then they probably lost 5 spots. Just because of their, everybody's going to say their schedule and point at that. But
you think they lose? So they lose?
I don't know if they'll lose. I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, they just won 49-14.
And they're
Texas State. So
they beat App State. I mean, they're beating teams that are 20th. He said, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they're 20th, and really the only thing out of college this week, Northwestern, their undefeated season's done. They lost to Michigan State 29-20.
Yeah.
Indiana bounced back 27-11 against Maryland, so they're 5-1 now in the season. A&M did what they had to do, being LSU 20-7, not a real convincing win, but they still do what they got to do. Florida might leap them. I don't know. They win 34-10 against Kentucky. Florida 6.
Trevor looked pretty good on his way back. He didn't look like he had any rust.
Yeah, he had over 402 touchdowns. They opened. What did they were up 31-0 in the first quarter. Then they had a little bit of their lackadaisical moment. They seem to have every game. They get they make a couple stupid mistakes, penalties, and I think Pitt fought for a while, and I think they cut it to 21, but ended up being a 52-17 final. So the top 4 should stay the same, even with Ohio State not playing. That's going to be the big issue now. Ohio State has had a coronavirus outbreak. They didn't play this week. There's a possibility they might not even play this, last week. There's a possibility they might not play this week. When's it come to a point where they haven't played enough games to make the college football playoff? Are they going to punish them? I don't know.
I saw that. I saw Johnny Suggs said about Penix. I saw Penix is out for the year. He tore his ACL.
The Indiana quarterback, yeah.
And then what happened to Oregon? What a terrible loss. Oof.
Yeah, Friday night, Oregon State.
Was bad, but that's awful.
That solidifies. No Pac-12 team's going to sniff the playoffs. So
yeah, that was bad.
It's just so odd, college is going through, once again, they're going through their postponements, but there's also scenarios like the Big Ten, they're not making up these games. Pac-12's not making up these games. ACC and SEC have done their best to try to build in these extra weeks to try to make up these games, like Notre Dame's making up a game in a couple of weeks against Wake Forest from September that they didn't play. But you figure the Ohio State's at a disadvantage right now.
Right.
Because you got Texas A&M and Florida breathing right down their neck with an opportunity to get into the top 4. Notre Dame and Clemson's going to play itself out in the ACC title game. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think personally, even if Notre Dame loses, I think they should still be in. I think it's Clemson that can't afford the loss now that they have 1 loss.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, unless everybody's a big proponent of Cincinnati getting into this discussion or BYU, but the committee didn't like BYU's body of work, ranking them 14 in the first ranking, even with Heisman candidates. So
they're putting up points. I mean,
yeah,
I get it, but
they played Boise State when they were ranked. I think that was their only game of any substance.
Yeah, because they're playing teams like Army and, Yeah,
they played Navy the first game and blew them out. I don't know. It's it's still all systems go to have this final ranking on December 20th, but who knows?
Got a Phillies question here. Well, a Philly question, I guess.
Phillies saying they can't pay Realmuto because of COVID. Do the Eagles or Flyers have any issues like that? Like you're hearing of locally? No, I guess only because of every team's restricted in football to hockey to a cap anyway. And it's more of a harder cap compared to basketball. So, and baseball, obviously, you have a payroll with a luxury tax threshold, but the Phillies obviously are so concerned about the luxury tax they won't go over. And, there's really been no signing so far other than John Suggs saying, Braves signing Charlie Morton, which, that's an underrated, nice signing. 1 year, $15 million. The only notable signing so far of this offseason in baseball. Here we are the last day of November and, more than a month into the offseason, and there's really been no movement. And I think it has a lot to do with the uncertainty on, number one, is there going to be a normal season? Nobody can guarantee right now if there are going to be fans allowed at these games of any type of capacity. So I think it really all hinges on that. And the Phillies are Dave Birnbaum. Brian Attard says, and that is probably the best way to describe the Phillies for us that know Dave Birnbaum in our circle. So,
by the way, UNLV is now up 20-17. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, well, did you say 14-0? It was.
Yeah,
UNLV. So
quick turn of events.
Yep. Yeah, so that I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with MLB. I think you're really right now in a kind of a staring match. Who's going to make the first move? You got a lot of pieces of the puzzle that got to fall here. When's Realmuto gonna? When's that market going to heat up? You're hearing nothing about it heating up. So that means to me that no team is balking at his price right now, not just the Phillies. So I don't know. When are the Mets going to make their move? Ownership changed. Steve Cohen's there, richest owner in baseball by a mile. So, and Brian Attard, UNC better than Villanova and Clemson all sports. That makes no sense. I guess just in the fact that you
taking shots at you, that's what he's doing.
Just taking shots at me and busting my chops. But, I could say if football, UNC got their ass kicked against Notre Dame on Friday. So, and the basketball team coming off the year they did, maybe anybody that's interested in UNC athletics or just a Duke hater and Brian Attard's perspective should just shut up for a little bit. And that's all I have to say right now about
about that. Yeah, we're gonna jump off shortly. We're gonna about another 10 minutes, not even. We're gonna be light tonight. We gotta prepare for the game.
Yeah,
I gotta prepare mentally to watch what I'm gonna watch tonight because I have bad feelings tonight.
Are you putting eye black on? Is that how you're? Nah.
I just have bad feelings about tonight's game. I just need to prepare mentally.
I mean, personally, I want them to lose. Draft pick.
Bobby Bonilla Day. Imagine that. They're still paying him. What, they got another 10 years on that?
2025, so I think it's like 4 or 5 years left.
And they've been paying it for what, 20 years? That's pretty interesting. Paul, UVA lost in basketball this weekend.
Yes, I did see that against San Francisco. That was a Friday game. Of all teams, San Francisco. But good. So 2 top 5 teams lost this past weekend. Nova at number 3 and Virginia at number 4. What that money line was. I don't know. I don't recall, but
that's pretty interesting.
But I know Nova moved it. They fell all the way to 12. They tumbled nine spots. I don't know what you have. UVA went down to.
The hell's that, Paul?
It must be Alexa. Hold on a minute. It must be Alexa talking to me for some
Jesus
reason.
Christ,
or
Paul.
or UFO, one or the other. Hold on 1 minute.
Or your Tinder. Paul's Tinder's freaking out on him right now. He hasn't been on in a while.
Maybe it means I got an Amazon package sometimes because I'm wired into Amazon Prime on there.
Maybe you couldn't hear me. I think your Tinder was going off.
That's not it. That would not come through Alexa.
Hey, you never know, Paul.
I don't have Tinder, so
Oh,
anyway.
swipe left.
Anyway,
I don't have Tinder.
what were we talking about? The Bobby Bonilla. Well,
Top 10 top. I don't know.
Where Virginia is now in college basketball. I was going to look at that.
That's it. Yeah.
Let's see. No, I mean, it's so early in the season, so I mean, it's a lot of basketball to be played.
Trivia question, Paul. Brian Thorne. Stupid.
At least they got there. At least they get there just about every year.
Why don't you turn it around on him and say what team won the national championship last year?
Yeah, LSU. And where are they this year? They stink.
They are bad this year.
They're 3-4 or something like that now.
That's what Orgeron gets for divorcing his wife, Karma. He's getting they're getting ripped this year.
Oh, Virginia fell to 15.
Oof.
They dropped 11 spots. So it's Gonzaga, Baylor, Iowa, Wisconsin.
Listen, is Gonzaga really that good every year?
Yeah,
but can they, like, if they were in the SEC, would they be able to hang with those teams? Like, come on, they're that good out west in the WAC or whatever the hell they're in.
They beat Kansas by 12 this past week, so they already have a nice win.
Okay. I don't follow them as much because they play out there, so I don't know.
Illinois, Duke, so Creighton is 9 when
they're in the Blue Jays.
They're in the Big East.
Name played there, Creighton.
Yeah, McDermott.
Nah, the guy the Sixers had.
Kyle Korver.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug McDermott, Kyle
wow.
Korver.
There you go, Paul.
Clemson? That's a question. You do know they still have a 5-star quarterback for next year, if that's when you insinuate that.
He don't even know. Brian doesn't even watch college. Well, I shouldn't say that.
I'll bet you right now that Clemson wins more games than the Jets next year because the Jets aren't winning more than 5 games next year, probably.
Wow.
I don't think.
Do it, Brian. Let's do it. Right here on the box, 11/30/2020.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just buy you a coffee. Oh, great.
I'll bet you a Starbucks.
I don't want Starbucks or want coffee, so I have my K cups here. I'll enjoy my crappy coffee with my Keurig.
Nice.
Yep. So the final thoughts, I guess, on the Eagles. We both think obviously that they're going to lose, right? But what's your prediction on Hurts? How much does he play? Does he score a touchdown in this game?
I don't even know what to think. He's not even a prop to score a touchdown tonight. I was looking earlier.
Oh, I thought I saw Frank Tedoro. He's not. I guess he's not on.
I didn't see one.
I think Frank Tedoro on Facebook. I saw.
Did
he had the prop of like the first. I think it was the first. Maybe it's the first TD score.
No, I thought I didn't see one.
Or score for the game.
Maybe it's anytime.
Plus 300 anytime for the game.
See, anytime. I didn't see. I didn't look at that one.
And plus 18, plus 20 to 1 first score.
Okay.
So he has a higher odd of scoring the first touchdown in the game, or I should say the same odds as Jalen Reagor and Wentz. Wow.
Is Zach Ertz active?
No, he's not playing still.
Why is he even on here then? This thing's stupid.
Goddard is the starter, and Richard Rodgers, who's actually looked pretty decent too.
Yeah.
surprisingly. They're moving Peters back to guard, and Peters got a toe injury now, so they're want everybody to feel bad that he's hurt that's a surprise. Lane Johnson out for the year, so
yep.
Should be very interesting to see what your tackle situation's like with was it Mailata, I guess, and Driscoll?
Yeah.
Are your tackles for the rest of the year?
Yep.
That's fantastic. That sounds like a recipe for Wentz to get hurt anyway, so
10. It's bad.
Yep. 10. Even with the Giants and the football team ascending as far as, they look like, to me, Washington looks like they're actually not a bad football team right now. They actually look a little bit decent. Ron Rivera is a good coach. So, I mean, you had to figure he was going to, and Alex Smith seems to have righted the ship as far as that team. I mean, he's not somebody that's going to carry you on his back, but he's a guy that obviously manages the game well and does it, did it with the Niners as well. And, did it with Washington before the injury, and it's great news. It's just great to see, somebody like that have a comeback story like that after 2 years ago, had an injury that not only didn't think he would ever play football again. At one point, they didn't even know if he would survive because of the infection. So, it's great to see. But I think we both agree tonight, Seahawks big, and just we'll see what happens now with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
and how much he plays in this game, and whether or not there will be a quarterback change altogether here tonight.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's do it. Wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it for tonight. Next Monday we have a football doubleheader. So
yeah, we'll see about a show.
No, we're gonna have a show anyway.
We love those shows.
If that's it for tonight. Thanks for everybody for chiming in, and good trivia question tonight again, Velardi. So we'll keep that going as a theme each week. Once again, if you're just joining us now, Paul Macrie alongside Big V, Mike Velardi. Have a great night watching a football game. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching the Sports Box. Follow us on Facebook at Sports Box Show, Twitter at Sports Box Show, Instagram at The Sports Box Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 points. See you next time.